The following is a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about them Cowboys?
Yeah! Go Cowboys! This is Girls Talk, Boys Talk, presented by Jigsaw Dating, preferred dating partner of the Dallas Cowboys, and broadcasting live from Dallas Cowboys World Headquarters at the Star.
It has been so long since we've done an afternoon show. I feel like we don't even know what to do anymore.
I know. How do we act?
Welcome into our final episode of Girls Talk, Boys Talk, presented by Jigsaw. Before we take a little bit of a break, before we pick things back up for training camp, Haley Sutton, Jess Navarez, Aisha Morrison with you as always. We appreciate you guys being flexible. We are going on a little bit later today instead of our normal Thursday time for a couple of reasons. First and foremost, my mom's having surgery tomorrow, so I want to make sure that I'm there with her, taking care of her, so it should be good. But also because we've had locker room. We just actually came from the locker room, which is why we're running a little bit late. But a lot of stuff to dissect through these first 2 days of veteran mini camp. Of course, that wraps up tomorrow. But ladies, we've seen a lot. And this time of year, it's so difficult. We talked about this with OTAs, but it's so difficult really to gauge what we're getting in terms of a roster just because it's so limited in what the guys can and can't do. But I think there's been a lot of positive stuff. I know you have notes, we all have notes, so we'll kind of talk through them. We'll start with just today, what we saw from practice. I think the most impressive thing to me about practice today, Dak Prescott was on fire.
Oh, yeah.
He looked confident. There was that one pass that he chunked down the field. Brandon Cooks caught it in stride, scored for the touchdown. So the biggest thing is Dak looks good, which is nice given that yesterday was not as sharp from him yesterday. But QB1 looks like QB1.
Yes, and he has, like you said, I think his good practices so far have outweighed his bad. And it is kind of cool to see him starting to command this new offense and how he's taking over and speaking to the players and how he speaks so highly of some of these young guys. It's refreshing. It's refreshing.
Yeah, something I've been wanting to do for a while is talk to Dak one-on-one because it's really hard to get Dak away from the group of media. Understandably so. He's quarterback one. That comes with the job, right? But it's very rare and in between that we get one-on-one conversations with Dak. And so I had that opportunity yesterday, and it was really just refreshing to hear from him compared to the last time I heard from him, which was last season.
Well, it's refreshing for you because you learned he's a Taylor Swift fan.
He's a Swiftie, ladies and gents. He is a Swiftie. We love that for him, and that was fun. It was fun banter, and everyone in that locker room basically knows where I stand with Taylor Swift. But what I really wanted to ask him in terms of everything that we're seeing right now coming out of minicamp was the wide receiver 4 spot and how that's shaping up because it is such a competition right now. You have Semi Fehoko, you have Cavante Turpin, you have Jalen Tolbert. You have these guys that are wanting to come up, whether they're taking a second-year jump or a third-year jump. You have all of these guys with different reasons for competing for that spot. And so 2 guys that really have stood out to me specifically during minicamp and even during OTAs was Semi Fehoko and Cavante Turpin. And so I asked him about Turp. He's spoken highly of Turp in the press conferences already that he's had throughout OTAs, but specifically Semi Fehoko. Him and I spent time during media days together. We were talking a lot more, and I told him, it's interesting seeing your progression with Dak because you've worked in the Dak yard this offseason. He said, yeah, it's paying off. I feel this new confidence. So I asked Dak about Semi. And when Dak talked to me about Semi, he said he's on the same kind of progression that I saw from Cedric Wilson, which what a throwback when you think about it. You pull up Cedric Wilson's stats. His year 3 jump was huge, and he became that clutch guy for Dak to where he took the jump that Semi is looking to take. So to hear that comparison from Dak was amazing. I mean, Cedric, his final season with the Cowboys, had 5 touchdowns that season. He had over 600 yards that season as well. And I'm not saying that's what Semi's going to have, right? I'm not saying that by any means. But what I am saying is that coming from Dak, making that comparison of the track that Semi's on is somebody that I really think Cowboys Nation should keep a closer eye on because Semi is making that jump. He's making the connection. He's making that cadence with his quarterback one, and it is absolutely showing.
Yeah, and to your point, just to add on to talking to Semi and getting some information from him, he also really is open to working on that Noah Brown spot because quiet as kept. Noah Brown was very important to what they did on special teams, but also what they did offensively. So that also gives you some insight on like kind of what his vision is for what he thinks he's going to be able to add. So those are two gentlemen that were important to what the Cowboys did offensively, just kind of on the hush, like maybe you didn't talk about them all the time, but they were intricate to what they did. So great insight from you, girl.
And something about Cedric Wilson that Dak pointed out was he was the guy that came from behind and took the spot that nobody expected to take that year 3 jump, right? And so you look at Semi and the progression that he's had, given the injury history there as well, is what's kind of kept him off the field. But you look at where he's at now and what he's doing, the work he's putting in, the initiative he's taking to take that wide receiver 4 spot. And I'm not saying other guys aren't, right? I'm not discrediting the other guys' work. I'm just saying the conversation was specifically about Semi, but he's the guy that could very well have potential to come in from behind, take that spot, and you're not keeping an eye on him because he's not the name that's being tossed around so often. So something I wanted to throw out there that I thought was a really, really good conversation with Dak.
Yeah, Simi is really growing on me. I hadn't had an opportunity really to have any conversations with him because, like you mentioned, he spent a lot of time on IR, a lot of time out last year. So I haven't really had a chance to get to know him, but it's been so fun just to kind of see the personality match.
He has a personality.
Yeah, match with the energy that he's bringing in. And to your point, Jess, Mike was incredibly complimentary of the work that he's done this offseason. I literally wrote it down. He said, quote, he's had a hell of an offseason. Yeah. And again, like it's so hard at this time of the year because you're pros and cons, right? Like it's cool to see them. We finally have football back. So it's nice to see, get excited about big plays and get excited about the potential, but also keeping that reality at the forefront. So yeah, that's great insight about Simi. I think something else too that Mike talked about as well, and when I was at practice, I sat with Kyle Yeomans up a little bit higher so we could see a little bit better, and he pointed out that Tony Pollard was on the sidelines, and I'm not saying that he hasn't been previously, but it's just something that I haven't necessarily been looking for. And so seeing him on the sidelines, partnered with how complimentary Mike was to Tony in the press conference today, talking about how great of a leader he is, how he commands the room, how he asks great questions, I think is what I wrote down. Excellent questions during meetings. He's a great example for some of the younger guys. And I think he said Tony Pollard does it the right way. And I just loved listening to how he described it. I think at one point, too, he even discussed, Tony Pollard reminds me of myself and my household. And he said, when my dad didn't have to say anything to me, that's when I knew I was doing things correctly because he didn't need to correct. And that was his comparison to Tony. So I think hearing that, seeing his progression on the field going through as he continues his rehab, and then just seeing him being involved with that room. I know we talked the other day about how involved Rojo is in terms of personality and who he's meshing with in the locker room too. So just having that leader, being able to step into a role that Ezekiel Elliott has filled for 7 seasons, just being able to have that kind of strong presence from your running back, the guy whose expectations are astronomical going into the year. He's quiet, but it's nice to know that he is still getting it done in the times that we don't get an opportunity to see him.
Yeah, and that's a progression for him because if you've been around Tony, even last year, the times that he got interviews and stuff, you don't see him the whole bunch, and so you kind of did start to see him coming out of his shell even last year, just being a little bit more open. And we saw him on sides of the sidelines being like, I want some more. Yeah, I want some more. And that it is a step in the right direction because you mentioned, the loss of Zeke to that running back room. And not even just Zeke, you also lost Skip Pete. So to continue to kind of echo some of the energy and the language that they want to speak with, I actually am proud of Tony, and I'm glad that you brought that up because it is something that you do starting to step into as a leader.
And when Mike McCarthy talked about the running back room in general earlier this week, something he had mentioned was Tony is ready to chomp at the bit. And I think that phrase explains Tony to a T, not just where he is right now, but what we've seen in the past. Because you even talk about the pass pro and the blocking aspect of his game. And that was something that we talked about earlier last season that was a bit of a concern. And then you look at the stats and what he has done to progress in just that area of his game alone. If you're just focusing on one, he went from, one of the lower aspects of being a good blocker to improving on it and chomping at the bit to get better. So for me, when I think of Tony Pollard, the phrase chomping at the bit, he's constantly chomping at the bit to improve, be a bigger leader, be that guy. And so this opportunity now that's in front of him to take over that one spot, is it's so exciting, and it's kind of a renewal for this running back room, because even I was talking to Malik Davis right before I had to run. Haley ran by me and said, "Oh, we're going now," and
Literally
I was like,
sprinted.
and I told Malik, I will talk to you about this more tomorrow. But even Malik said, we obviously wish Zeke the best, and it's a business at the end of the day, so not having him here is an adjustment, but it's something that we had to adjust to, right? So seeing Tony stepping into that is interesting, to do it in his own way, to your point, Haley, of he's not the vocal guy. He's not going to be the guy that we see yelling in the locker room and being his goofy self. He is a quiet leader, but that doesn't make him any less of a leader for this team. And I think it's really exciting to see the chance he has to take this role and make it his own.
Last thing I want to talk about from the press conference, and then we'll take our first break. Mike McCarthy discussing, his new role as play caller. I feel like he's been asked this like every day, and he's to the point where it's like, guys, like please. But what I did find interesting today about kind of how the question that he was asked, and he was discussing, he doesn't want to be known as a prolific coaching guru. Like he said, that's not my MO. That's not what I want to be remembered for. And he said, I want to be remembered for having the Hall of Fame quarterback who comes in and commands the offense. And he kept saying that over and over again. He said, I want my quarterback to own the offense. And I loved how, and this is not speculation, so don't take this anywhere other than at face value. But he said, I don't care who's at quarterback. Like if it's Dak, or if it's Will, or if it's Coop, whoever it is, I want my quarterback in the game to own the offense. And he is more concerned about developing that relationship with Dak. We heard it briefly before, like we said, we sprinted over here from the locker room, but Dak just talking about how that relationship is developing and how it's kind of turning into something really special. But I did think that was interesting, and it made me think, is Mike McCarthy a Hall of Fame coach? Like, even if he doesn't want the recognition, if that's not what he wants to be known for, I'm like, is he a Hall of Fame coach? And it's something to kind of keep in mind. But what I will say in this is, I think when you think about a Hall of Fame coach, when you think about, wins and losses, records, all of that, that is important. But I also think the way Mike has had to adapt his coaching style to the positions that he has been in. His first couple of years here, he was adjusting to having Jerry Jones as his boss and having a boss who's so involved in everything. He's adjusting to not being the one who's calling the plays. He's adjusting to an offensive coordinator whose philosophies don't meet with his. And now he's adjusting again to getting back to being the play caller. And all while he's done that, he has maintained the player-first mentality. He's maintained that he's got to take care of the guys in the locker room. He's constantly preaching about, the locker room is their space, and I want them to have that space. And so regardless if Mike McCarthy makes it into the Hall of Fame or not, I know that's a conversation that's like way, way, way down the line.
Sure.
But just seeing what he has been able to accomplish in his very short time in this locker room, or in this organization, how he's affected the locker room, how he's been able to amicably work with people who, again, maybe he didn't agree with from a football standpoint. All of those things, for him to be kind of the old school, hard-nosed, kind of Pittsburgh, proud, strong guy, and to be making these adjustments like this on the fly, like that is something that needs to be discussed more often.
Yeah, adaptability is so huge, and I think it's huge from him in general. And you brought up, the coaching staff and the changes. For him to own up after the Mike Nolan thing, and to take on the responsibility of like, hey, I messed up. And to get Dan Quinn in here and to get that defense, even the defensive side of the ball, to kind of settle that out, I think that was a big step in the right direction too, as well, Haley, for him to be able to adjust and say, hey, okay, this isn't working, my players aren't responding to it, and to bring in the necessary staff to where you do have one of the top 5 defenses, and you're going to and it seems like you're going to continue to. So I think that's so good to highlight that, in this game and in this sport, everything's not going to be perfect, but you have a coach that's adaptable. and it has the ability to do that. And so it was good to hear. That's good to hear. Also.
And something we've been hearing from Mike McCarthy a lot, or just in general throughout the past couple of weeks, is knowing the why. That phrase specifically, knowing the why. What is the purpose? I love the culture that Mike McCarthy brings to this building of allowing his players to know the why, not just saying, this is how it is, and this is because I said so, but really picking into their minds. We were talking to Dak earlier, and Dak said, I'm expected to help create this new offensive scheme. It's asked of me, and it's expected because the input is wanted. And so Mike always talks about culture and creating this healthy culture. You can't have happy and successful players that are going to be productive without having that good culture that really cultivates the foundation of what this team is. And so Mike, I think it's interesting. We're hearing that phrase more now than we did last season of knowing the why.
The purpose.
That is showing,
yes.
We go back to purpose. It is showing you that he is learning from the mistakes and the wrongdoings of what created the downfall to be what it was last season where it ended, to want to progress, to want to be better, to allow these players to get into his mind, to allow them to have input, because it's so important for that culture, for the growth of this team, to know the why, and allowing them to have the platform to do that is so important.
That word purpose is going to be very important.
You should talk to him about a little theme,
To go.
Resilience to purpose.
I imagine that is. There's a reason why they keep throwing the word around. Resilience
Sure.
was the same way. So we'll see. But I think it's definitely a great word for them to kind of work towards, especially when you think about, like the expectations of the last 2 years and how resilience stemmed from losing to the 49ers the year before. And now, it's going to be cool to see that theme develop. Let's go ahead and take our first break. I know we're running a little bit behind, but let's go ahead and take our first break. When we come back, let's talk about practice, what we've seen so far out of the guys, who's kind of stood out, and we will get into that when we get back on the other side of the break on Girls Talk Boys Talk.
At Jigsaw Dating, we obviously want the Cowboys to bring that 6th ring home. But to be honest, we're more focused on finding the person who will put a ring on your finger. That's why we created a dating app that reveals your face through meaningful conversation, so you can date deeper. Because it's personality that matters the most, not looks. Join Jigsaw Dating today, dating partner of the Dallas Cowboys.
If you have been thinking about weight loss surgery, My Bariatric Solutions has made it easier for you to schedule your initial consultation from the safety, comfort, and convenience of your own home. You'll meet one-on-one with the bariatric surgeon over a private and secure video call. You'll learn everything you need to know about the options available and which procedure is best for you. If you've been considering weight loss surgery and are ready to take the first step, call My Bariatric Solutions today at 844-326-6266. That's 844-326-6266, or go to mybariatricsolutions.com.
Dear past, present, and future football watchers, you know why we're here. The football season is back! Woo! And since that's too amazing to miss a single second's worth, Pepsi is officially giving you permission to always put football first. Like, maybe those in-laws are back in town. Well, better hope they're football fans, because your Sunday is completely booked. Long story short, crack open a Pepsi and don't let anything get between you and your football watching. With love, Pepsi, made for football watching. That's what I like.
Hi, I'm Danny McCray, Dallas Cowboys alumni player here with Smoothie King. And Smoothie King wants to ask you, what's that sound? That's the sound of you and everyone else absolutely loving new smoothie bowls from Smoothie King. And woo, me too. These smoothie bowls start with acai and pitaya and are handcrafted with fresh toppings like sliced bananas, sweet berries, crunchy Purely Elizabeth granola, and a savory peanut butter drizzle. New smoothie bowls, only at Smoothie King, the official smoothie of the Dallas Cowboys.
To Block 2 of Girls Talk Boys Talk, presented by Jigsaw. Let's talk about practice, but first, let's go to Jess.
Join us for a Dallas Cowboys Juneteenth celebration in partnership with the Miller Lite at Miller Lighthouse at AT&T Stadium on Saturday, June 17th from 4 to 8 p.m. Enjoy live entertainment, play lawn games, and shop local Black-owned businesses, as well as hear our Haley Sutton MC. For more information, you can visit AT&TStadium.com/Juneteenth. Go out there, go support, go see Haley MC. all the great things.
I'm gonna be there.
I'm so
I might
excited
break dance
for
for
it.
the people.
Oh,
Yeah.
breakdance.
Yeah.
Well, you heard it here first, guys.
Breaking news. You're going to see Aisha breakdance. I don't even think I've seen that.
It's gonna be you got served in there.
Oh, my.
Yep.
Can we get a little taste after the show? I'm dying to
Ain't
see what
nobody
this
said
looks
all
like.
that. I need some time to prepare, but
She's got to practice, is what
Look,
she
you
said.
warmed up. You warmed up as you ran over here.
I gotta
So you're
stretch.
warm
No,
already.
I gotta stretch. Please, don't make a scene.
All right, let's talk about practice. So again, and I'm going to keep saying this so that people don't get things confused. We understand that OTAs, minicamp, it's only a peek at what we're getting. And we know that training camp is going to look a little different. We know that the season's going to look a little different. But we can only go off of what we've been seeing so far in terms of evaluating these players as they compete for roster spots. So I kind of want to open this up and just discuss with you ladies. If you had to pick a player so far, I know we still got one more day tomorrow, but if you had to pick a player, and I'll go first because I know this is a random question, but if you had to pick a player who you think is really in a position where they're trying to make a case for being on the 53 come this fall, based on what you've seen out of OTAs, out of the 2 days of minicamp that they've had, a player who you think has really raised their stock, for lack of a better term. So I'll go first. Without a doubt, Jabril Cox.
Yeah.
And Jabril Cox is a person to me who is really competing for reps with now Overshown coming in. I think that they are very versatile in how they are similar in how they play, and their versatility is a reason behind that. So I think in terms of fighting for a spot, Jabril Cox is someone who I think knows that, not on the chopping block necessarily, but knows if he's going to get some reps, then he's going to have to put in the work. Now, I say he's my most impressive because if you saw the end of practice yesterday, how he turned up at practice, he had the 2 PBUs to end the game. The team was celebrating with him. Those are the type of plays where, again, I'd love to see that happen when they're in pads and they're at full strength. But just to know that this is a guy who understands the position that he's in, he understands what he needs to do to be successful, and he's making big plays like that, not just within the scope of practice, but like these are game-saving, practice-ending big plays that he made yesterday. And I think that he had a lot of people kind of go like this. Like,
Yeah. All of us did.
Like, okay.
We all turned our
Okay,
heads.
Jabril, we
Yep.
see you.
Yeah.
So that's my guy as of through 2 days. That him and Tristan Vizcaino, but we'll get into that in a little bit.
Go ahead.
Okay.
Go ahead.
So my human, is Matt Willetsko.
Okay.
Well,
I think Matt Willetsko really
had to throw that
is
in there, guys, sorry.
obviously coming back from that shoulder injury. He got injured last year. I personally think we would have saw him play last year if he hadn't got injured. And he's getting quite a bit of snaps at that right tackle currently while Terrence Steele is, healing. But he could potentially be that swing guy and be that guy that they go to if there is an injury. I just think that he's showing himself useful and is somebody that could be a part of what they do, and obviously be able to fill in if necessary as that swing tackle that they drafted him to be, that they got him to be. So Matt Willetsko is a guy that I'm really trying to keep my eyes on and see what their vision is for him. But it looks like they think they have a serviceable swing, so we'll see how he continues to develop as camp comes.
That's a great answer. I'm going to go with the very basic, obvious answer, but with reason here. I'm going with Jalen Tolbert.
Okay.
Because I didn't know what to expect coming into OTAs to see Jalen Tolbert actually working. Sure, we've seen him with the offseason work with Dak, and we've heard him talk multiple times. He talked at the Senior Bowl about how it was a mental thing for him to not feel overwhelmed by the playbook, and it was a lot for him to take in, and he's very open and honest about that. So with that, I didn't exactly know what to expect when he came out. Both days, and specifically today, I was a little more honed in on him than I was yesterday. He is really working. Mm-hmm. I mean, you know the guys that are putting 100% effort in, and then you know the guys that are putting 110 in, right? Because all of them are working, all of them are doing what they need to do, but Jalen Tolbert sticks out to me specifically because he goes back, and it's funny, I saw this multiple times. He goes back to Dak, and he asks him, I don't exactly know what. I need to ask Jalen. He goes back, and he asks him for what I'm assuming is criticism, how to get better, after any time, most of the time, when Dak is throwing the ball to him. He goes and he talks to coaches. You visibly see him walking to do that. And that's so far and in between for guys because, they're in the middle of practice. They're not thinking to stop and, hey, let me go ask for what I could do better between each play that he has. He just really is exceeding my expectations for what I expected to see from him. He's putting all of his effort in. And there was a pass that I believe Dak made to him at the end of practice today during the 2-minute drills where it was one of those plays that could be game-changing if he landed in bounds. So there's still room for work, and he has a lot of shining up to do. But the amount of pressure that he is working under right now to try to compete for that spot, and he is really outshining a lot of people right now. It's really impressive, and I'm just really proud for how much he has learned and picked up and wants to make that jump for himself.
It feels night and day. You're right. Like it does from last year. We watched him a little bit last year, obviously not in the building, but just the confidence and just even his motions when he's out there. He doesn't look unsure. And so that's just a testament to the work that he's done and what he's really working on. And he'll tell you, like, I don't know everything yet, but I want to get better. And so that was a good one to bring up because I do think that he is on the uptick as becoming a guy that's really competing for that 4th spot, like you said.
I am just waiting for because it's going to happen, but I'm waiting for that big play where he climbs the ladder and he's up and the catch, and everybody is going to be blown away because you've seen the potential. And I covered Jalen a little bit when I was in Alabama as well, when he was at South Alabama. You saw what he was able to do at the college level. And I get it. Not always college doesn't translate over to NFL all the time. But we talked about this earlier in the summer, he just needed that push, right? He just needed the guys to rally around him, and he needed to fit in, and he needed to get close with his quarterback. Very similar to Simi, and him and Simi are very close too. So that's obviously
they're locker buddies.
Yeah,
they're
naturally very close. But now you're seeing him kind of come into himself. You're seeing his I'm even seeing his personality a little bit more. You're just kind of seeing him come out of his shell. So it's exciting to see what he's capable of. I had one other thing I wanted to talk about, but I told y'all earlier in the week I have a surprise for you guys. So we're gonna go ahead and wrap on this segment. When we come back, I have a very, very, very exciting surprise on Girls Talk, Boys Talk. So stay with us. Come right back. We'll be right back.
Yay.
At Jigsaw Dating, we obviously want the Cowboys to bring that 6th ring home. But to be honest, we're more focused on finding the person who will put a ring on your finger. That's why we created a dating app that reveals your face through meaningful conversation, so you can date deeper. Because it's personality that matters the most, not looks. Join Jigsaw Dating today, dating partner of the Dallas Cowboys.
Dear past, present, and future football watchers, you know why we're here. The football season is back! Woo! And since that's too amazing to miss a single second's worth, Pepsi is officially giving you permission to always put football first. Like, maybe those in-laws are back in town. Well, better hope they're football fans because your Sunday is completely booked. Long story short, crack open a Pepsi and don't let anything get between you and your football watching. With love, Pepsi, made for football watching. That's what I like.
If you have been thinking about weight loss surgery, My Bariatric Solutions has made it easier for you to schedule your initial consultation from the safety, comfort, and convenience of your own home. You'll meet one-on-one with the bariatric surgeon over a private and secure video call. You'll learn everything you need to know about the options available and which procedure is best for you. If you've been considering weight loss surgery and are ready to take the first step, call My Bariatric Solutions today at 844-326-6266. That's 844-326-6266, or go to mybariatricsolutions.com.
I'm Dak Prescott, quarterback of the Dallas Cowboys. Blockchain.com is one of the most trusted ways to buy, sell, and trade crypto. Whether you're always on the go or stay closer to home, Blockchain.com is just a few taps away. Put the power of crypto in your pocket, so no matter where you are, you can trade on your terms and build a crypto portfolio to fit your life. For crypto pros, rookies, and anyone in between, Blockchain.com makes it easy to own a piece of the future. Blockchain.com, trusted by millions, trusted by America's team.
To our final block of our final episode of Girls Talk, Boys Talk for the 2022-2023 season. This has been such a good year, and a lot of it has been highlighted by the relationships that we've been able to make in the locker room, specifically with our special guest. We have none other than tight end. I can't call you a rookie anymore because you're not a rookie anymore.
Technically, it doesn't count till first preseason game, so it's still
No.
Maybe not. I don't know.
Doesn't matter. We got Jake Ferguson in the
Not a
house,
rookie.
guys. Jake, thank you so much for being with us. I'm going to brag a little bit here. So I met Jake before I actually started working for the Cowboys. I was doing a camp with Laura Oakman. I've talked about Galvanize before, and she partnered with the Cowboys. My partner was Alec, and one of my close friends, Sierra Henry's partner, was Jake. So Jake and Sierra sat behind me. You guys know Alec. He's very quiet. He's very to himself. He's complete opposite of Jake. So the whole time, all I can hear is Jake and Sierra like cracking jokes behind me. So I obviously had a chance to get to know him a little bit then, but just to see your development and how you've really taken this role head on. And my favorite thing about you, Jake, is that you have not lost who you are as a person. And I think that that's so important. So kudos to you for doing that. I kind of just want to open the floor to you. How you feeling going into year 2?
I'm pumped up. I'm really excited. I think kind of what you were talking about right there is something I really wanted to focus on is continuing being myself, and I think that's when I play my best football, where I'm having fun on the field and kind of cracking jokes with Henny or anybody else, really anybody in that tight end room. But when I'm having fun, that's when I'm playing my best ball. And I remember I was just at this camp for it was like 6-year-olds to 17-year-olds flag football camps, and they're like, go talk to the guys. And I was like, hey, like you guys are out here this young playing football. Like it shows that you love the game. Just keep that love, and that'll drive you. And I think that was something that I kind of finished that day, went home, and was like, wow, okay. Like maybe I needed that talk myself, and kind of had to get back into it,
Yeah. And what has it been like for you, adjusting to NFL life? And what is your advice to anybody who gets these accolades and gets to live out their dreams to stay true to them? How do you find yourself grounded in moments like that to stay true to who you are?
Right. I think it first starts with just because you made it doesn't mean you can stop. I think a lot of guys, not here, which is cool to see, but a lot of guys do. They kind of get to this level and they're like, okay, I made it. What next? And I think what's important is kind of to just remember what kind of trials and tribulations you've gone through to get to this point, and to not stop, and to really just take it as long as you can get and keep working until, like they always say, football won't last forever. So you might as well let that thing stretch out as long as you can. So I think it's important to just stay on top of things, stay true to you, and remember why you first started.
Yeah, so speaking of you being pumped up for next season, dude, so I've been watching you. I don't know. Is that not media? Is that not media?
All right, everyone relax now. Everyone relax.
No,
Feet up. Get comfy.
I've been seeing you just going through plays. Obviously, it's OTA, so it's walkthroughs and stuff, but I can see your clock has sped up. Can you speak about that? Does the game seem like it's slowing down for you and you're understanding things? Because I can see, it kind of feels like you're a tick ahead of where you were last year. You should be, but can you speak on that?
Yeah, definitely I should be. But I think I definitely am kind of morphing into that. And I think a lot of my thinking has sort of just switched to, there are some new stuff with Schottenheimer coming in, Shotty coming in. There's a little bit of new wrinkles, but at the same time, it's football. If you play fast and you hit somebody, most of the time you're probably going to be decently right. So that's where I'm kind of just like, hey, let loose, play football. I know this stuff. I can learn it. We got time to learn it. But once I get on that field, I'm just going to play. Mm-hmm. And then getting back to having fun, I'm just like, hey,
have y'all
dust off the shoulders. Let's just go have some fun.
Yeah. Have you guys concocted a new celebration?
There's so many.
There's so many.
They did the hog tie.
So
what's up for this year?
We got to get in the end zone first things first.
That's fair. That's fair.
I will say
I can't wait.
There's solos, duos.
Oh man.
Trios, full team action.
Oh my goodness.
O-line involved.
Let's talk a little bit about.
Heard it here first on Girls Talk Boys Talk.
Let's talk a little bit about your tight end room, because I'm unapologetic in my obsession with you guys, because y'all are just, like I said, I love when personality and football, it meshes. Mm-hmm. I just think that that's so important, and not just in football, in anything that you're doing. You obviously, and I if you could just retell the story about when you met Peyton and how you guys kind of just became like inseparable.
So did I tell you about how when we first met at the combine?
You did. Yeah, but I want you to tell the whole, because I know it, but I want everyone to know it.
So at the combine, tension's high or whatever, and it's just kind of like not a lot of guys are talking to each other. It's just kind of like, I'm going to go get mine and whatever. And we were on broad jump, and I remember I was jumping so bad. And it was like 9.3, 9.3, 9.4, 9.2, and I was like, man, like I gotta get to 10. I've been jumping 10 all training. And so I jumped like 9.5, and I turned around and I saw Peyton, and I've never met this guy in my life. I just know him because he played in Indiana. And he's sitting there like this, looking mean. And I go up to him, hit him in his chest, like smack him a little bit, and I go, "Turn me up, Henry shot." And he's like, "All right," and he gets going. I was like, at first I thought he was gonna hit me, and then we started laughing about it. And then, we first got here, I was like, or actually we first got in. Dub being L Dub was like, you guys need to get, like, we need to start talking. When we first got in here and we started having meetings with him, like young guys meetings, and just sitting in those with him, like Dub would say something funny and me and him would like look at each other, giggle a little bit.
It's like SpongeBob and Patrick at school.
Yeah, and then it just sort of started morphing over this past year, and just kind of like they had it where we're the two young tight ends, and so I mean we're always together. They put us on the plane together. They put us in the same room at the hotel together. Same room for training camp. So, I mean, we're really with each other that whole year. So, I mean, it was basically Beavis and Butthead, two brothers.
All the nicknames.
I cannot believe
The day Mike McCarthy.
Mary Kate and Ashley.
Yeah, I don't know how that happened.
Zeke told me
that
that.
was
Zeke
Zeke's
said that
thing.
he came up. I will never forget the day. I don't even remember who asked the question. It might have been me. But when I asked about you guys, and he said, "Oh yeah, that's frickin' frack."
Frickin'
Yep,
Yeah.
freaking
And
frack.
like to hear Mike McCarthy, you know, like so stoic, always so serious, for him to be like, "Oh yeah, that's frickin' frack."
Yep.
We were
in a
dying.
serious tone about it.
I ain't gonna lie. It's just so crazy how men make friendships, because what the heck? Like,
Yeah.
that sounds like some of my military friends. That's seriously how I made friends with a couple people. He literally just was standing there and you said, "Pump me up," really?
Yeah. Fire me up.
Fire me up.
Fire me up.
Y'all are Looney
love that.
Tunes, man.
I love
Hanny.
that. No,
But when you develop that, because you know you guys are close, y'all came in together, and then you add Sean, who is quietly like so exactly like y'all, but most people don't know
Clones.
it. You had Dalton last year, but you now have Seth. You have Luke. I mean, like, have you ever been in a situation where like the people who are directly around you, like the bond that y'all have you ever experienced anything like that?
At Wisconsin, I kind of had something like that, but that was just because I made sure it was that way.
Yeah.
Me being the older guy, I was like, break out of your shell, talk a little bit.
Turn me up.
Like, yeah, me and Henny say everybody's got a shell that can break and they can come out of it and kind of. And we've kind of done that with Sean, and we're seeing it now with Scooney.
yeah.
Scooney.
He'll come around. Yeah, he'll come around, be smiling a little bit. But I mean, it's such a good dynamic in that room, and I mean, there's just like little like inside jokes that we all have. Like anytime Sean wears a grout fit, we make him pay us a little petty $5 in the room, put it
Love
on the
it.
fine board.
Love it.
What?
A grout fit.
All gray.
Yeah.
Now that you think every time you see him now,
I never
he
thought of
wears
that.
a grout fit quite a bit.
Stop talking about him.
Man, y'all.
We love him.
Hey.
There's nobody like Marone.
You know what? You're talking, and I see a little wristband there on you about Tight End University. Can you talk a little bit about that and kind of your excitement and what you're hoping to get out of that?
Yeah. So I actually went last year before my rookie season. And even then, just going to kind of go learn from those guys was insane. Just like sitting in a room. We basically we use Vanderbilt's facilities. We have like a meeting style with every tight end. And then Greg Olson comes in, and then some veteran tight ends who are done. They come in, talk to us, kind of give us like all the little tips and tricks. And then we go out, hit the field, do about an hour and a half worth of practice, and then we go out and just bond and be tight ends. I mean, that's literally what the position is just a bunch of guys being dudes, you know, having fun.
I love it. At the simplest
I feel like
terms.
I feel like that's
Yeah.
us. Like we're just a bunch of girls
Just
Being
a
girls.
bunch of girls being gals.
being
that's
dudes.
all.
Apparently, we're
Talking
dudes.
boys, you
Talking
know?
boys.
If you could describe what you want this tight end room to be categorized at, like if somebody was like, describe the Cowboys tight end room, what is it for you? I'll give you 3 words. I ain't gonna just give you one. That's not fair.
So you want me to give one?
Yeah.
I want our tight end room to be dominant. And I think I just love how we're the horsemen, and it's a collective group, and like everybody can, like I think this whole tight end room, especially right now, everybody can play.
Yeah.
And you don't see that around the league where
Yeah.
the 2, 3, 4 guy even can go out and make some plays and seriously make plays. And that's something that I think you can throw out 13 personnel. You could throw out 4 tight ends on the field and we could go, you know what I mean? Dynamic, dominant, and versatile. I mean, just I feel like I'm pretty biased, but I feel like we can do everything.
No, yeah. Absolutely. Thank you.
Yeah.
No, I mean, and Sean talked about that the other day too. Whenever I was talking to y'all about Big Ten and the the background y'all have there, and that's one of the things he said. He said the Big Ten breeds tight ends because we're required to be all around guys. We're required to be more physical. We're required to be more resilient. And so you just saying that, like, that's kind of a testament to that. Is like you guys come in and you're ready to work. And what I love most about you guys is that you're ready to do the work that others don't want to do. Like you're willing to, get the special teams reps and work your way into being integral parts of the offense. So I love that about you guys. In terms of you and just your personality and kind of who you're becoming, is there a player that you, because I have a player obviously that I think you remind me of, but I want to hear just from your perspective, is there someone who you've kind of molded your game after or taken inspiration from?
I'm really into like taking different pieces of stuff. I'd like to say I'm like some people, but I definitely don't think like in the grand scheme of things, I'm not. I don't know. I think I definitely have my own. I think I call myself the Honda Civic. Like CD's a Lamborghini. We got TP who's like a Ferrari, but I'm old Honda Civic. Might have a couple tune-ups, but all reliable.
Honda Civic.
Or something.
Not a Civic, y'all.
A Yukon or something.
Give yourself a little more credit.
You kind of too big to be a Civic.
That Honda Civic can
It's
go
reliable.
on
It is.
an
It's
old
gonna
road
last.
trip.
reliable,
It's gonna last.
and it gets the mileage in,
Cross
and it
country.
still works. Love that cross
Family
country
car,
road trip car.
could
Love
be.
a family. Love that. Love that. Hey, aside from football, everyone can look at you as tight end Jake Ferguson for the Dallas Cowboys. What is something you want people to know about you as a person? What do you like to do? Who are you outside of your job?
I like doing new things. Recently, I've been doing a lot of solo exploring, like in Dallas. So I went to the aquarium by myself.
Isn't it the greatest
It's so
place you've
nice.
ever been?
I've never been.
Unbelievable.
It's the greatest.
It's
the
so
Dallas Aquarium. I am like
I need to
also
go.
unapologetically like Dallas girl till I die. And I've been to several aquariums. I'm a big aquarium girl, but the Dallas Aquarium, it's just
It's
it's
legit.
different.
Add that to my list to do.
They have built it to where it's like a rainforest. So when you enter in, the building doesn't look like an aquarium. It's in downtown, like right where the El Phoenix and all of that is, off of like Ross Avenue.
Okay.
So it looks like a regular building, but you go inside and you start at the top of what would be the top of the rainforest, and you like
like you're going
spiral
into
your
the
way
ocean.
down, till you get underneath, and then the aquarium part. They have manatees. I have a video where the first time I ever saw a manatee was there, and I was like, "What is this magical animal?"
The old sea cow. Yeah.
This man right here, y'all.
Sidebar. We love
Your
the aquarium.
ability to just connect animals to everything. I love
Yeah.
it. 4 horsemen, sea cows. I mean, what else are we gonna get?
Yeah, I mean, I do it all. I'm an open person, I mean, I'll talk to anybody. So I just like doing stuff, getting out and about.
Love that. Love that.
Last thing I want to ask you before we let you go, because we know you have to get back to your stuff. What are and you don't have to get into specifics, but what are just your expectations and your goals that you have for yourself going into, this final week of mini camp, and then you've got a little bit of a break? What are you hoping to accomplish this year?
This whole year, Super Bowl. As a
Love that.
From now to from camp to game 1, I think my consistency everywhere, whether it's on the field, weight room, off the field, what I'm eating, I'll have a milkshake now and again, and I think at some point that's got to, taper down.
What flavor?
So I'm a Oreo.
There you go. It's the only right answer.
I'm a closeted chubby kid. Like, I used to eat sleeves of Oreos when I was a kid.
Oreos are delicious.
Yeah, and I found out you got to get the double stuff. You know how you don't get your hand with milk?
Yeah.
Take a double stuff, put the fork in the middle, and you can dunk.
Yeah.
The more you know.
Yeah,
Just learned
that's a
something
great
today.
tip.
I don't know what to say about
Game changer.
No, it is because you're right. You don't your
want to
hands
get
don't
soggy,
get wet.
and then that piece of the Oreo doesn't get the milk on
It's
it.
got to be double stuffed, though.
You can get a vegan one. They have the vegan one.
Does this look vegan?
I was gonna say, did you hear him say he's a closeted chubby kid?
I tried to make a
I
suggestion.
literally only drink milk, too. And this is people say it's a red flag or whatever, but
it's not a red flag.
I drink skim milk only in plain.
Oh, well, that is a red
I
flag.
know I'm gonna spray the back here a little bit.
Skim milk. I was with you for milk, and then you said skim milk, and that
No almond milk, no.
No.
Oh, you're
I
killing
wasn't
me
with
here.
you for milk to begin with, and then you threw in skim.
I figured, yeah. I get that quite a bit.
Got chills.
How'd you get on?
Never broken a bone, though.
My grandma
That's
drinks
true.
skim
There you
milk.
go.
What made you?
There you go.
Who
Whatever
gave you
works.
Skim milk.
Well, my dad's only 6'1", and my mom isn't a very tall woman either. So we don't. I guess it was the milk. I don't know.
That helped you grow.
Yeah.
Slide me some, man.
It's too late for you, sis.
Please.
Yeah.
Sorry, it's too late. Well, that's all we have for you, Jake. Like I said, I know you have to get out of here, but we just so appreciate it. We always talk on this show about how you guys are so respectful to the work that we're able to do, and we're not able to do the work that we do as women in this business without the support of guys like you in the locker room. So we're always so appreciative, so complimentary of just the way that you have embraced us. You've kind of let us be ourselves. So we appreciate you for that. That's Jake Ferguson, everybody. Yay! And unfortunately, guys, I feel like I want to cry. Like, this
I'm
is
so
it.
sad.
This is our last show
I know.
before we get to get a grip. Okay, excuse you.
Meanwhile, I'm over here cheering up.
We just really quick, because I know we've got to go. I just want to say thank you to everybody for tuning in with us. This was such an exciting project. My girls, this has been so awesome for us just to be able to come in this space, to talk ball, to talk everything, and to do it in a place where it's been safe and special for us has been so good. You guys have made my first year here with the Cowboys so incredible. So I do just want to say that.
Well, thank you, Haley,
All right,
because
so
you
now
came
I'm getting
in.
emotional.
Well, you
Come on,
came in
y'all.
here when we started this, and you really have helped us grow as people in the business. And it's really just so far and in between that you find people that are genuine and want to help and help people grow by
Sorry,
just
Jake.
being you. So thank you for everything you do. Thank you for everything you do for the team. I mean, this alone, the conversation
This is so
we're
dope.
sitting here with Jake
is so dope.
shows just the testament to you and everything you've done in your first year here, and it's just the beginning. So thank you,
is.
and thank everybody for allowing us to
know.
have this space where we're breaking stereotypes and we're breaking those molds and making our seat happen and matter within this space of sports. So
I feel
thank
like
you.
we're doing an Oscar speech here.
You guys
like to
killed
thank
it.
my
You guys
mom,
killed
my
it for sure.
dad.
That'll do it for Girls Talk, Boys Talk for 2022, 2023. We will see you guys next time at training camp coming up in Oxnard.
Bye.
This has been a production of DallasCowboys.com and the Dallas Cowboys Football Club.
How about this, Cowboys? Yeah!